Sean,
Mike?
what is this? A crossover episode? All right, guys, let me be real with you. This is Mike from the future. Sean's audio on this episode is really bad. Like, it constantly is popping, and it's just cutting out. I don't know what was wrong with his mic, but we didn't realize after we recorded. So if you're just stumbling upon this episode and not coming from episode 11, the audio is kind of fucked. We give a small recap at the beginning of episode 11 about this episode, because I think ultimately this episode's pretty inconsequential. But if you still want to listen through, it's not unlistenable. It's just sometimes Sean's a little hard to make out. And it's a little, to me, it's a little annoying. So I don't know that I'd sit through this, but I wanted to give you guys the choice. Like I said, I think if you watch the show, if you're watching along for the first time, and if you you watch the episode and you get our little recap on episode 11, you shouldn't have any issue moving forward. But if you really want to check it out, it is here for you. Sorry about that, guys. But obviously all the other episodes sound good. So go check those out. Anyway, Back to the Future for me. I'll see you guys later. Hello, everybody, and welcome to What Is This, a Crossover episode, the podcast where Sean and I talk about BoJack Horseman, and Sean goes do.
I do.
I'm Mike. Hello, Sean.
Hi. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. I'm used to it. This week we're covering One Trick Pony, episode 10 of the BoJack Horseman season 1. Before we get into the episode, we have to talk about what happened on the day this episode released, which was August 22nd, 2014. Let's go to onthisday.com, our favorite website, Sean.
Yo, I love that website.
You know, as you know, our current vice president, Kamala Harris, got married to Douglas Emhoff in Santa Barbara on this day.
Okay, yeah,
Same day BoJack released, and he's the first
gentleman, right?
Gentleman, first gentleman, I think. Also, a little new wrinkle to this day. It was a Friday.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was a Friday.
New information. And, second gentleman. I don't know why we said first gentleman.
He's the third gentleman.
If he was the first gentleman, he'd be married to Joe Biden.
Well, hey,
maybe
someday we'll get some gays in the White House and we'll be better off for it. Also, another new wrinkle here was not a leap year.
It wasn't a leap year.
Wasn't a leap year. Congratulations to 2014.
Is that exciting to you?
It is. And also, this one makes me want to die. Okay. August 22nd, 2014 was 8 years, 3 months, and 29 days ago.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
That's tough. That's very tough to hear. Number one song on the American music charts, Rude by Magic. I'm sorry, Rude by Magic! Because they have their name be in all caps and an exclamation point. And then number one song in the UK was Am I Wrong by Nico and Vince. They are not capitalized. And then finally, the second Ebola death in Nigeria, Africa's most populated country. Okay, so that was the day this episode came out, One Trick Pony. Sean, what did you think of this episode?
Oh, I really liked this episode, like a lot.
Okay. Really?
It was funnier than I was expecting.
Okay.
But also, I wrote down about 20 monologues from the episode that I think just hit like perfectly. So, yeah, I really liked it.
I got to be honest with you.
Okay.
This is my least favorite episode since the pilot.
Since the pilot?
Since the pilot.
Ooh.
Because I do like Neil McBeal, the Navy SEAL, which is episode 2.
Oh, God, that episode's good.
Maybe episode 3. I don't really remember what episode 3 even was now that I have it in my head. But this episode, it's definitely, we had some, big things happen the previous episode, I think. And now this is one of those episodes that's getting ready for the next 2.
Okay.
If you get my drift.
Yeah.
It's it's the Pirates of the Caribbean 2 of the BoJack season 1.
I think Pirates of the Caribbean 2 is a good movie.
Did I say it wasn't?
It sounds like you're not saying it positively. At least it doesn't sound like it. You know,
It's connective tissue. To me, it didn't move
that
the
makes
story
sense.
forward a ton, but it did what it needed to do to get us to the next episode, in my opinion. And maybe that's me coming from a standpoint where I know what happens next.
Yeah.
But I don't super love the Naomi Watts subplot. I just think it's kind of
that doesn't really kill it for me. But I think I like the stuff with Todd. I like the stuff with and actually I do like the Naomi Watts stuff when she's giving monologues because I think they're funny. I don't like her relationship with BoJack. That was just like very predictable.
Yeah, for sure.
Gonna happen.
For sure.
But
anyway, we can dive into the episode unless there's anything else you want to say overall.
Not really. I've just got everything written down on how funny this episode was.
We start this episode with a scene that they're shooting, which is presumably like one of the final scenes in the movie where Naomi Watts and BoJack is playing Mr. Peanut Butter in this scene, and Naomi Watts is playing Diane, and they're shooting the movie about the story of the D getting stolen and turning Hollywood into Hollywoo. The final line is what is the line? I don't even remember now. Something and I'm Mr. Peanut Butter.
Oh, it's I'm the chocolate and you're Mr. Peanut
That's
Butter.
Right. I'm the chocolate. I was like, what are they? They didn't say jelly. What are they matching peanut butter with?
Well, chocolate and peanut butter. We go together like
yeah. No. I just couldn't in my brain fog think of what they said. Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. I just couldn't think of it.
I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. And then we cut to a Ryan Seacrest type on Hollywood.
No. We don't cut to.
Wait.
We don't cut to a Ryan Seacrest type. We cut to a Ryan Seacrest type, which I believe is his name. Is what I took from this. It's not like
I'm a Ryan Seacrest type. Yep.
Yeah, it's not like we cut to one of these. That's him.
Yeah, that's his name. He's a Ryan Seacrest type, and he is there with BoJack and Mr. Peanut Butter. And Mr. Peanut Butter has some hilarious things to say here about how they finish each other's sentences. It doesn't always happen, folks. Like that, the way he looks right at the camera and says that is really funny to me. And then he tries to trap BoJack in it, and BoJack is just denying everything he says, and he goes, "It never." And Mr. Peanut Butter says, "Happens. See, I'm inside this guy."
Which is a fucking. I'm inside this guy. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Ryan Seacrest type takes a few shots at BoJack too, which are pretty funny.
He's like, "I thought you were dead." How does it feel to be, like an actor again when, once again, I thought you were dead or whatever he says? It's really.
He says, "How does it feel to be alive?" Which again, I didn't think you were.
I also love that XS Hollywood is missing the D.
Yep. The city is no longer Hollywood from now on. It is Hollywoo.
Hollywood.
That is where they live.
The origin
the
story.
D. They will not bring the D back.
Damn. Bring back the D.
Bring back the D.
That feels like it's the hashtag of like one of those weird like we need to go back to 1950s America when men were strong. Like one of those. Bring back the D.
Hashtag bring back the D. It's on maybe a red hat with white font.
Absolutely.
So we get a cut. He asked BoJack how he got into this film, and we get a cut to BoJack talking to Princess Carolyn about how he doesn't want to do it. And he asks, well, why can't I play myself? And she says, well, you're being played by Wallace Shawn. And he goes, the inconceivable guy from The Princess Bride? Really? And then we get a cut within a cut to Princess Carolyn convincing Wallace Shawn to take the role of BoJack. I'm not playing that boob, he says, but he has a Mark Rothko painting addiction that he needs to feed.
Yeah, and he's like, would you tell an alcoholic to stop buying alcohol?
Right. And did you get this reference upon first watch? What
do you mean?
Like the Rothko reference. You know who Mark Rothko is?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay, so I didn't either, but according to IMDb, late in his career, Rothko created about 380 of these color field type paintings. They go for about $10 million a piece. Yeah.
Mike, I know how to fund the SpikeGhetti compound. It's really
right.
easy.
I just got to start slapping paint on some canvases.
But also, you need to die for it to work, apparently. because you got to be gone apparently, because it's only worth something afterwards. And then Jason makes a bunch of money. Jason found it in your name. It's the Michael SpikeGhetti Institute for Gifted Youngsters.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. This doesn't sound like a good plan for me. So BoJack, we cut back to BoJack and Princess Carolyn, so we're still in a flashback cut, and he says something that I'm sure you wrote down.
Oh yeah.
Like he said that, and I go, Sean is writing that quote down right now.
But if you find me in a bathtub with open wrists tomorrow and the words "I hate my agent" smeared across the walls in blood, you'll know why.
Just the most dramatic thing.
To date the episode really quick, when I heard that, the immediate thing that I thought of was Jason during the subathon, which just ended, going, mistletoe is going to be the only thing hanging from the ceiling this Christmas.
Yeah. For sure. Very similar over dramatic lines.
Yeah, also in that cutaway, Princess Carolyn says, "Stop being a big titty baby."
Yep.
Which is all right.
Why don't you stop being a big titty baby?
And we've heard of Quentin Tarantino before, but he's gonna show up, and he gets name dropped. Who do you think Rin Tin Tin is supposed to be? Because he's the one that starred in Reservoir Dogs.
You don't know Rin Tin Tin K9 Cop?
I don't.
Oh, that is a reference. Hold on, let me. Rin Tin Tin K9 Cop. So
my thought was
Rin Tin Tin K9 Cop was a television series from 1988 to 1993. Hank Katz fights crime with the help of his dog partner Rin Tin Tin. So it's a show with a dog, okay?
Okay.
And so the idea is that in this world, Rin Tin Tin's a real actor, and Reservoir Dogs brought his career back.
All right.
That's the bit.
Okay, fair enough.
So I don't know if I can explain the bit more to you. Do you understand the bit?
No, I think I get it.
Rin Tin Tin had 106 episodes, Sean.
That's crazy.
Rin Tin Tin K9 Cop. Anyway.
Dude, so many notes before the actual opening, because after this cutaway is when it plays the theme.
BoJack. Yeah, for sure. We haven't even got to the opening.
I wanted to give an update on that opening, because I remember when we started, I said I was pretty disappointed by it, because I was like, it's good, but I was waiting for back in the 90s, that, you know. I really love the opening now. I'm fully sold. It took me 10 episodes, but every time I'm vibing to it when it's playing.
Yep. And I don't know. I haven't been watching it, to be full disclosure. I've seen the opening a ton. I don't know if they started changing things about it yet, but very soon, if they haven't, they start changing different characters in it, and when things happen, they update it. So, kind of a fun thing to look out for if you're watching at home for the first time, is to watch the opening and see what they change and what they don't. Pretty cool stuff. Quentin Tarantino, who you mentioned already, is played by a person named Kevin Bigley.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who is doing this Quentin Tarantino impression? Because I think they're doing a pretty good job.
He's known for not a whole lot. His
name's Kevin Bigley, you said?
Bigley.
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 Speaking of Bigleys and big people, do you know what I missed in this episode, though?
What's that?
Vincent Adultman.
Vincent Adultman, not here yet.
Not in it.
Not in it. He's known for, according to IMDb, he's known for the Angry Birds movie.
He was in an episode of B99. I don't know why I abbreviated it.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, I don't know why I abbreviated it.
Is that like Rin Tin Tin? What is that?
I was like, I don't want to say the full Brooklyn, apparently. I don't know why as I was saying it, I'm like, why am I abbreviating this?
Yeah, he's known for the movie Stretch, the movie Dilemma, where he's bank customer, and Scream Queens, where he's Randall for 2 episodes, and then he's Greg Blue in the Angry Birds movie.
The Dilemma, a Vince Vaughn and Kevin James movie, apparently.
Yeah, yep. Who knew those 2 powerhouses of media teamed up? Not me.
Powerhouses of media.
But funnily enough, I know we always talk about voice acting in this. Wallace Shawn and Naomi Watts play themselves.
Okay, so I could clearly tell that was Wallace Shawn.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
ain't no way this is anybody else. But Naomi Watts, I wasn't sure about, so that's cool to know.
Are you a Naomi Watts enjoyer?
Dude, I don't fucking know. I'm trying to think of what I've seen her in.
She's known for Mulholland Drive, which is a like ginormous movie to people. King Kong.
Which one?
The 2005 King Kong.
I think I've seen that once.
The Impossible. Don't know what that is.
Nope.
And Birdman.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in any of those.
She's also in the Ring movies.
Oh, I saw her. Oh, she had a cameo in Vice. I was gonna say I saw her in Vice, but she only had a cameo.
Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't.
Like good actress, but nothing. Not my kind of movie. Not my. I'm not a Naomi Watts enjoyer because I don't watch a lot of her movies because I'm not a watched good movies kind of guy. I watch bad movies.
She might be in a movie coming up for you though, because she's starring in a movie called Good Night, Mommy.
Ooh. Oh wait, why is that for me? Mommy. Sorry,
also, it's the
sorry.
horror movie apparently.
Oh, no, not a movie for me.
Yeah, not a movie.
Not a movie for me.
A movie.
When she plays somebody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let me know.
Yeah. I'm sure.
And then I'll know.
Right?
Then I'll know of her.
Everybody gets in there eventually.
Her whole bit this episode is she wants to play like a two-dimensional
or a
one-dimensional character because she typically plays these powerful women, and she just wants to be a woman in a romantic comedy like Diane. I
thought it was really funny.
Yeah. Pretty funny commentary on Hollywood there, right?
Yeah. I like this scene that we come back to out of the cold open where Diana is just trying to get food in her own house.
And the alligator won't let her.
Cast and crew only.
Yeah, cast and crew only. She can't eat. Bojack comes in and he talks to Diana. It's the first time they've spoken since the wedding, which we don't really get a super big vibe for how much time has passed, but clearly some has.
It's the most uncomfortable conversation I've ever. It's like we're coming back to school after summer vacation, huh?
Well, I don't know. I think it starts off weird, but then you can get the vibe for how, they get along and his charm works because he makes the bit about the waitresses, right? He goes, I met a girl at this restaurant, and she goes, was she a waitress? Yes. And then the third one, no, she was a hooker, but she really wants to wait tables. And Diane laughs, and you can tell why they get along. I think it corrects itself a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to being awkward again.
It's supposed to be awkward for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Question. How do you feel about P.F. Chang's? Because he got name dropped.
I've had P.F. Chang's twice.
Oh, okay, only twice?
Twice. There's one somewhat near where I live. And Tara and I have gone there twice.
It's kind of expensive, I think.
For me, if I'm going to eat shitty Chinese food, I'm going to get an expensive shitty Chinese food, right?
Yeah.
And now, while it's like it's the highest level of shitty Chinese food, like it's really good shitty Chinese food, it's still shitty Chinese food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, to me, it's not worth the money. I'd rather just get some hole-in-the-wall place and have diarrhea for the next 2 days.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. How do you feel about P.F. Chang's?
I really like P.F. Chang's.
Oh, I mean, P.F. Chang's is good, Sean.
No, you're right.
Wow, P.F. Chang's.
I don't get to go there very often because, again, expensive. But
right.
I like it. It's my guilty pleasure of Chinese food. They mentioned P.F. Chang's and I was like, oh, I want P.F. Chang's.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the other two restaurants, but I think they're like LA things, so I wasn't too worried about it.
We skipped over this line, but I just, it's really good. But it's when they're first having this conversation about, it's like we just came back to school after summer vacation. And Diane
the
says,
Diane line, yep.
I hope the cheerleaders don't stuff me in a locker and write virgin slut on my forehead. And then when I ask how I can be a virgin or how I can be both a virgin and a slut, they make me eat a lipstick. And
Bojack's like, right. And they animate his eyes so funny because he's just like looking to the side. And something I really noticed this episode for some reason, they really do a good job of just conveying Bojack's emotion through the animation. which you think it'd be tough because he's a horse, right?
Yeah, they do a lot with his eyes.
They do a lot with his eyes, and you know, he has human-like features, you know. But I really noticed that this episode, especially when he's talking to Todd, when he feels guilty talking to Todd.
Yeah.
They just do a really good job of conveying that. Let me try to remember where we go from here.
I like how he's like, why would I want to settle down? I'm 50, and I went, he's how old?
You don't realize how old BoJack is, right?
Yeah. So
because of the way he acts, you'd think he'd be younger, but.
So I'm pretty sure this is when we get the like Naomi Watts talking to Orion Seacrest type cutaway, because this is when I have written down. I just keep getting pigeonholed as complex characters in these highly acclaimed movies. For once, I would just love to phone it in and play a two-dimensional girl in a rom-com with no inner life of her own. That's kind of the reason I got into this business. And then Orion Seacrest type goes, "You said words."
Yes. You said words. That starts this whole bit where it's almost insulting to Diane because it's like,
oh, it is,
like, because it's like, I mean, Diane didn't write the script or whatever, but like she's definitely being written as inconsequential as this movie is being made, and then, you know, because of Todd's influence, that starts to change. But it's just funny. She, like, you know, keeps interacting with Diane and trying to mimic everything she's doing throughout the episode, and it's
it leads her down a dark path.
Yes, a very dark path. Because Diane, I mean, admittedly, is a bit of a dark person, right?
Yeah.
She's a bit of a dark person.
I love that Wallace Shawn is wearing the fucking Jar Jar helmet. Like, that's the first thing I thought of is like, you see behind the scenes from Phantom Menace, and you see Ahmed Best walking around with the fucking giant helmet over his head, like where Jar Jar's head is. It's funny.
Yeah. Is this where we get Mr. Peanut Butter
and Todd?
Yes, the spritz scene.
Yes, and then he goes to talk to BoJack. He goes,
yeah, the Mr. Peanut Butter's my father's name, and Todd's like, well, he goes, but it's also my name. Just like the stupidest bit.
I love how excited he is.
So he goes to talk to BoJack, and he has notes for him, and his only note, and the only thing he cares about this whole episode basically is that BoJack is wearing a crew neck shirt, and Mr. Peanut Butter only wears V-necks. And
you know what? He's fucking right. He does only wear V-necks, and I just
he does only wear V-necks. Yep, he only wears V-necks. But BoJack says some other things, and Mr. Peanut Butter just sells it. Go, yeah, maybe you're just losing oxygen to your head because that crew neck's a little too tight. You know, just like anything he says, all Mr. Peanut Butter can focus on is the fact that he's not wearing a V-neck shirt.
And he's like, don't worry, I'm gonna get it fixed. And he walks off screen, and then you just hear him scream for the wardrobe lady.
Yeah, just screaming. Sean, I gotta be honest with you, dude. Yeah. I don't remember the flow of this episode at all.
Yeah, so this is when we cut to, I believe, because this is the next note I have, at least. This is when we go to Diane talking with
Yes, because she's folding the clothes or the towel exactly like she does. And she says they do the I don't sound like that. I don't sound like that. And Diane says something back, and Naomi Watts just says, "Mama, mima, mima," like something like that. It's like, what the fuck? But she asks her if being married is everything we ever dreamed, because she's Diane now. And you know what bit we missed?
What?
The bit where Naomi tells Ryan Seacrest type that he calls her Diane on set.
Oh yes.
And so then he goes, "Where's Diane? Are you looking good, Diane?" And the real Diane goes, "Thanks." She goes, "No, not you, Diane." And he goes, like, "Where's my peanut butter?" Right? Yeah. "Where's my peanut butter?" And Mr. Peanut Butter's like, "I'm right here." He goes, "No, not you. I need peanut butter." And he goes, "Do you mean BoJack?" And he goes, "No, not BoJack, peanut butter." And then Wallace Shawn shows up and goes, "Did someone call for BoJack?" And she goes, "It's really cut down on confusion."
And as it's doing this bit, it's like a close-up at first, and then every time it's adding another person to the bit, the camera like pulls back to include them. It's very well animated, as well as just being like a funny bit, the way it's conveyed.
Yeah, definitely. So she back to the scene with the two in the bedroom folding clothes, and she asks if marriage was everything she wanted, and Diane gives this speech about how, it was the best day of her life. But what does that say for the rest of her days?
The day after the happy ending and the day after
Right.
that. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
And Naomi goes, we are such a Zoe.
Yeah.
Bringing back that bit.
Yeah.
And then I noticed later in the episode, there's someone in the background wearing a shirt that says, I'm a Zelda.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Apparently in this world, this Zoe Zelda thing was a big deal.
I mean, we've kind of made it a big deal in our own world. I feel like we've referenced that quite a few times. In our own, like, interactions.
Yeah, that's such a Zelda thing for you to say.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't expect a Zoe to understand, so.
That's fine.
I
think we're all Zoes.
Maybe somewhere in our hearts.
I think Gen Z are all Zoes. I don't think there's any Zeldas.
We all have a Zoe in our heart. I like Diane's line where she's like, God, I can't even remember the full context of what she says, but she talks about how in high school she had a design about how all the girls at school were bitches.
She says, my dream was to get a MacArthur grant
yes.
about my zine that said all the girls at school were bitches.
I think it's a zine because it's magazine. Yeah, zine.
Yeah, magazine? I'm sorry, do you say magazine?
I say magazine.
Sean really playing Call of Duty. Yo, toss me a magazine.
Go toss it. What Call of Duty game lets you give toss to the people?
I don't know, dude. Fine, Army of Two. Sean's really playing Army of Two. Yo, throw me a magazine.
I've never played Army of Two.
We should play Army of Two on stream.
That would be
you
fun.
and me.
That'd be fun.
We could be an Army of Two.
We kind of are an Army of Two on this podcast.
We are. We're changing the name of the podcast.
Back to the existential speech that made me pause the episode for a second about the day after the happy ending. That really fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's a certain wisdom to it though. You know what I mean? It's like
it's kind of nihilistic at the same time though.
Yeah, people always say, "Oh, this is the happiest day of my life," but it's like you're like in your 30s. Like, I hope that's not the happiest day of my life, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and I think this is even. I think this is even more than that, because the idea of it being the happy ending.
Right.
Right. Not just the happiest day of your life, but also like, this is the happy ending. Everything's good. Now what happens? And it's like, oh, that's a terrifying thought. Right?
Now what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, now that I'm on IMDb, like I always am for these episodes, and I'm just staring at Allison Brie, and I just gotta say, I love Allison Brie.
Me too. This was the episode where I remembered that it was Allison Brie, because this is a testament to her report, report. I almost said her reporting. She's not a reporter. A testament. Holy fuck! A testament to her acting and her voice acting, her performance.
A telement.
I've got allergies. I'm gonna blame it on that, even though there's no correlation.
Allergies, even.
Allergies. I don't normally hear Allison Brie in Diane. There was a moment in this episode where I did hear her, just because I don't know, I've been watching a lot of Community, and I was like, oh, that's Annie. But yeah, she's really good in this. I like to get away from this existential dread that I feel over the happy ending thing. I like the scene with Todd is like, I have ideas for the script, and Quentin Tarantino is like, I'm gonna kiss your face.
Oh, well, so what happens in that scene is he says the movie's missing something, and someone says, well, maybe when the music, and he goes, the music?
Yeah.
You're fired. Who brought this girl here? And another guy raises his hand, and he goes, you're fired too. And he goes, any other ideas? And everybody's just terrified. And then Todd goes, what if what if it made it more about Diane? Like, give her feelings and more words, and just says a speech. And Mr. Peanut Butter's like, oh, he doesn't know the rules. Please, spare him.
He's Hail Caesar, I think he says.
Yeah. He bows and calls him Caesar, just the most cringy Mr. Peanut Butter thing. And Quentin Tarantino starts a slow clap by himself.
with
his 6 arms, he starts a slow clap by himself, and no one joins him, which just makes it funnier to me. And then he kisses Todd's face, and he goes, "Let's go back to my web, and we can talk about this."
So I want you to tell me as we go through this, when does Todd jump the shark?
For this?
Yeah, because this initial suggestion isn't bad.
No.
Right?
And then he has the other suggestion of making BoJack more of a villain.
Yeah, we can we'll keep going through the episode, but I want to know when he jumps the shark.
I can tell you exactly
because I have my opinion.
Yeah. So they start to change the movie a little bit, and
as they're changing the movie and he's getting less screen time, but BoJack calls Princess Carolyn to complain.
That's right. Well, before that, Todd he thinks Todd is up to something.
Yeah, he thinks Todd knows about.
He thinks Todd knows about the sabotage of his rock opera, because Todd comes to him and says, "It's really nice to be working on a movie set. This is the most I've been involved in something since my rock opera failed.
Yeah.
Man, I really messed that up." And you can see the guilt on BoJack's face.
Yeah.
Then he calls Princess Carolyn, and she has this run of visual gags while she's talking to him at the gym. My favorite being the guy on the hamster wheel.
I was
two treadmills away. He's on a hamster wheel running. But she's doing a bunch of lifting, and then she has like a cat scratch thing that she's on. But he basically explains to her that he thinks Todd is onto him, and she's like, "Why is everything about sabotage with you? Just be a good boy and do this job, and you'll be fine." But immediately after that, Naomi Watts shows up and goes, "You see this? They took it all off you and put it on me. I'm so sick of this." And she has this speech where she runs away.
So she says, "Some dickweed named Todd decided I should be three-dimensional and you should have no lines. Isn't this town sick of creating three-dimensional roles for women? This happens to me all the time. A.O. Scott is sick of talking about how brilliant I am." A.O. Scott had to look up chief film critic of the New York Times.
There you go.
But I
love Scott.
Isn't this town sick of creating three-dimensional roles for women? Is like I think there's some really good satire in the Naomi Watts stuff in this, especially for 2014.
Yeah.
Like you can argue that definitely it's better now, at least, even though maybe it's not where it should be.
Right.
But especially in 2014,
Yeah, I agree. There's also the bit that we haven't touched on yet with Lenny Turtletop.
Yes.
Where he continues to have to go up the driveway to get snacks, and it takes him forever because he's a turtle.
Yeah.
Which just a funny little bit.
Voiced by Jameson, right? I said
J.K. Simmons. Yep.
Yes, J.K. Simmons. I couldn't think of his actual name. All I could think of was J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons of Whiplash fame.
Dude, he's so good in Whiplash.
Yeah. Good. And he's great as Lenny Turtletop. I love him as Lenny Turtletop. The other thing that's going on is that Diane told BoJack she is almost done with the book, and she's sending the...
Okay. So really quickly, because that jumps ahead a little bit. This is when Todd also is like, "Hey, let's make him be a real selfish asshole."
Yeah, right.
Which is like, you know what? Like reality. Okay. Now, then he says, "Why does the movie have to take place on Earth?"
Yeah, that's where he jumps the shark for sure.
Now, here's the deal, Mike. I don't think that's when he jumps the shark yet.
No?
I'll tell you when he jumps the shark, but I don't think so yet.
I don't know. I think he does there. I think it's very clear he does it there, because why would the movie take place on anywhere but Earth?
I think that, like, for reality, that's when this bit jumps the shark. But, like, in terms of this show, I don't think that's when Todd has fully lost it yet.
Okay.
I think he loses it later.
Fair
I have a note written down about Mr. Peanut Butter loving Honeydew. Which is...
Yeah, because BoJack and Princess Carolyn on their phone call both lament Honeydew.
Yeah.
Because the fruit bowl has too much honeydew, and she goes, Honeydew, the garbage fruit.
Right,
and Mr. Peanut Butter loves it, of course. Look at all this honeydew.
And then we get another scene with Naomi Watts and Mr. Peanut Butter where I was like, oh, they're going to fuck. They're on that bed together. And
you mean BoJack?
BoJack. Did I say Mr. Peanut Butter?
You said Mr. Peanut Butter. Yeah, so the reason... Quentin Tarantulino has fooled you.
Oh, no, he's behind me.
Oh, no, he's going to kiss you.
He's going to kiss me on the mouth. On the face.
So the reason that she's so into BoJack is because she goes to Diane saying, hey, now that my role's expanded, I need to get, like, to know you more. And Diane fools her and says, hey, Diane really likes talking to Bojack. You should go just talk to him or anybody else.
Yeah.
And so she is getting into her role as Diane by having sex with Bojack?
Yeah.
Question mark? So that's what happens. And he calls her Naomi, and she goes, shh, no, call me Diane. And you can tell he's a little bit excited about that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no.
He's like, wait a minute. Someone wants me to pretend that there's somebody else? Oh, wait a minute.
Then there's some really gross food sex stuff that happens.
Yeah, she says, kiss some sour cream into my mouth.
Didn't like that.
But then that's when Diane comes in and says, hey, I sent the book to Pinky. And he goes, oh, I got to read it. And if I know me, this book, I'll be rock hard afterwards. So be ready, he says.
Yeah. He says, keep the engine running. Now, Mike, if somebody wrote a book about you, do you think you'd get an erection while reading it?
No, absolutely not.
No?
No,
do you think
that's
you'd
weird.
be able to read it?
It depends. If it was what happened to Bojack, it'd be tough, right?
Yeah.
Because while I do think, and we'll get to the scene where he's upset with Diane about it, while I do think he's being a bit ridiculous, he obviously really cares what Diane thinks of him, and to him, this is just her saying, hey, I don't like you.
And
right?
Like, to be fair to Bojack, right? Like, it's not at all what they said they were going to do. So it definitely feels like a betrayal, right? Like being stabbed in the back. Like, we spent all this time together doing this thing, and instead you were documenting my lowest moments, Like,
right.
And in reality, that's Diane's job, right?
Mm-hmm.
As like an author or writer or whatever, or and she almost wanted to be a reporter, right? Because she talks about how she wanted her magazine to take off. That's what she wanted to win her award for. So she has she's not just like a novelist that wants to tell a story, right? She wants to tell a true story.
Right.
And so
she doesn't want fluff. She wants what's real.
Yeah. She doesn't want to write a fantasy epic or anything. It's not like she's like, oh yeah, I'll just write a fun story about you. She wants to write about something real. And this is honestly, it's what you should have expected, but Bojack didn't really
think about
that. He didn't think about that. I think he thought that their friendship overrode her career and her goals and her ambitions, which I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Right. So he reads the book and goes to her, and we were saying, he's...
So he doesn't get to read it because first he has to call the book guy to read it.
Oh, Pinky Penguin, yeah, your favorite. Yeah.
You see the Penguin Publishing guys burning trash in the office to stay warm.
To stay warm, yeah. They are struggling. And Pinky Penguin says, if this goes well, maybe I can see my kids again.
So this is all extremely relevant, actually, right now, Mike. It has been, but I haven't really thought to bring it up. Because Penguin Random House, which is clearly what Penguin Publishing is parodying, right? They've actually been in the news recently, not because they're doing poorly or whatever, but because they were trying to purchase Simon & Schuster, which is one of the biggest other publishers in the publishing industry. And so this really has nothing to do with BoJack, but I was reading this or watching this, and I was like, oh yeah, Penguin has been in the news recently because even Stephen King testified to Congress about why this was not a good idea. And I got blocked recently, but yeah, it was like a $2.2 billion deal or something where Penguin Random House was going to buy another huge publisher. Anyways, that's your Penguin.
So they're burning trash in their lobby?
Yeah. I just
okay.
Look, it's just relevant because these guys have been in the news recently that they're parodying.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I like how what's his name? What's the agent's name?
Pinky.
I like how Pinky's like, I might actually get to see my kids again.
Yeah, exactly.
And when he picks up the phone, he's like, Penguin Publishing, unless this is that loan shark, then it's, I can't remember what he says, but it's like a Chinese place, try our bento box, or I guess Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, he tries to pretend it's a restaurant instead of it. But he does warn BoJack, hey, this isn't what we originally were looking for, but I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And
But he says
Diane
it in a very excited tone.
Yeah, Diane says it as well, like, it's not finished. Keep your expectations in check, like as he's going to read it. And then he reads it and he is not happy. Goes to her on the roof.
Well,
and
I have some quotes from it that I want to.
Okay, yeah. Well, while he's reading it, his quotes he says.
Well, so first of all, the book is titled One Trick Pony by Diane Nguyen, which is not a great title to start with. I mean, it's a good title. It's not, not for him. And the two that I wrote down, the first one is funny. The Make-A-Wish kids will not soon forget the time the great BoJack Horseman referred to their parents as a bunch of used jizz bags. That one's funny, and then this next one, I had to pause and take a minute after. He filled the air with words, terrified of silence, as one often is, who is smart enough to recognize his many personal failures, but unwilling or unable to take the steps to fix them.
Ugh.
And that one, I was like, oh.
Ugh.
Oh. I'm like, I do a podcast. I do multiple podcasts. I'm always filling the air with silence. I make lots of jokes. Is she talking about me? Oh no! Yeah, that one wasn't good. That one wasn't good for Sean. Anyways, those are the two quotes that I pulled. You okay, Mike?
I wanted to see if you'd fill the air with you'd fix the silence.
Right.
Anyway, I'm still here. So, were those the two quotes you wanted to reference?
Those are the two quotes
that hurt you the most.
Well, the first one was funny. The second one was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So he goes to her, and they have a conversation where he's not happy. And then she references earlier in the episode, he said, I'm just a dumb celebrity who doesn't know anything about books. And she says that, you're just a dumb celebrity who doesn't know anything about books, right? Haha. And he goes, what?
Yeah.
And she's like you said earlier. And he goes, I don't think you understand what this is. This isn't a conversation between friends. This is a boss telling their employee that they did a bad job and they need to do it again.
That felt very real.
Yeah, and then she gets angry because she's like, what? And he goes, this will never see the light of day, and storms off. And she immediately, doesn't even hesitate, immediately calls Wayne, her ex-boyfriend from BuzzFeed, and says, Wayne, you still work for BuzzFeed? He says, yes. She goes, I got something that's going to get you lots of likes or smileys or hearts or whatever you guys do, whatever you guys use to value your journalism.
Yeah.
And so she leaks the first couple chapters to him.
Well, do you want to hear the sad thing about me?
I'd love to.
Well, this is just me being stupid. But my initial thought when she called the BuzzFeed guy was like, that's a full book. How are you going to fit all that on the BuzzFeed?
Yeah.
Because my thought was he was saying this is never going to see the light of day, so she was like, fine, I'll post it online because like I worked too hard on this. I want people to see it, even if I won't necessarily get paid a bunch of money for it or whatever. But yeah, and then later on I was like, yeah, it makes more sense to just like leak a couple chapters.
Right, because then that gets it buzzing, and then you think BoJack has no choice but to
release it. And
then
people go online and they go hashtag release the BoJack cut.
Right, exactly.
And years later we have a 4.5 hour slow motion filled black and white 4x3.
Wow, Zach really catching strays here.
Not strays, they're pointed. They're aimed.
Okay, fair enough. Not really what this podcast is about, so I think they're strays. But anyway, so this movie is just completely fallen off the rails in the meantime. Naomi Watts has been replaced with a tennis ball.
Which is funny. Tennis ball on a stick. BoJackatron, Horse Maniac.
Yep, is Wallace Shawn's new role, and BoJack as Mr. Peanut Butter is hanging in front of a green screen covered in little balls.
And I think part of the reason I really like this episode is because I really like movies and movie making and stuff. So all of these hit with me. Like all the background jokes about the movie making industry, I was like, this is really good. So when it's like, you hear people complain all the time about having to act against a tennis ball on a stick. So that kind of stuff is just like, oh, yep, I get this. That's funny. I like this.
So they cut the scene, and Todd and Quentin Tarantino are still not satisfied. They're like, maybe, because Bojack says, guys, what are we doing here? Is this even a movie? And they go, maybe it's not a movie.
Maybe it's an immersive smartphone app.
And Bojack says, no, that's not what he says.
No, that's not what he says, yeah.
That's not what he says it. So he goes, maybe it's a smartphone app. And then Todd says, maybe it's like a feeling.
And see, I don't think we've jumped the shark yet because I could envision crazy art, like auteur people, like saying that kind of shit. I'm waiting for when Todd says something that only Todd would come up with, right? And I don't think we've hit that point yet.
Yeah, I don't think he said it yet. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So they leave, and Bojack's left there hanging, and he goes. They let him down, and he goes to talk to Naomi, and she wants nothing to do with him anymore because she was only interested in him as Diane, and now that she's been fired from the role, she finds Bojack, and I quote, quite gross.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, she's nice about it, and she gives him a little kiss on the face to leave, but she's even like, ew, see? Yeah, nothing. So she leaves. So everything with Bojack's falling apart. And then he goes back outside, and they're packing up the production. And Quentin Tarantino and Todd are there, and he goes, glad you're here. I want to show you this. And he pulls back a little.
So they go through the whole.
Oh, that's right. They go through the whole deal. Yeah,
I have them all written down. So first, an interactive social media experience. And this is when Bojack is like, that's the dumbest combination of words I've ever heard or whatever.
And Quentin Tarantino goes, I know.
And then they say, it's a floating art installation. And I'm like, okay, I can imagine some crazy artist thinking this. It's a high-end perfume. I don't think we've jumped the shark just yet. They're on the ramp, Michael, at that point.
Okay.
Series of interrelated fortune cookies is when I think they jump the shark. That's when it's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean a series of interrelated fortune cookies? What does that even mean?
You open them up and the fortunes inside link to each other. What do you mean?
I guess maybe that's not jumping the shark then, because that's plots in movies that, like, I'm sure that's been used. You're opening up the fucking fortune cookies to, like, get a message or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a national treasure, but with fortune cookies.
All right, a hat that if you turn it upside down, it's a boat.
Yes.
I think that then definitely that has to be when they jump the shark, right?
Yeah, that's a very Todd thing. But what they is that was the last one.
That was
wasn't
the last
it?
one. Yes.
And what they reveal is a bi-monthly curated box of snacks. Not bi-monthly in the way where it's twice a month, but bi-monthly in the way where it's every other month.
Like, if you were to be running a bi-monthly operation where you send out a curated box of snacks, what would be in your box of snacks?
The fudge stripe cookies.
Ooh, that's good.
A little pack of those.
Yeah.
Maybe some like white cheddar Cheez-Its.
Okay.
A box of raisins.
Okay. Raisins.
I like raisins.
Interesting.
I love raisins.
I discovered something about you today.
I love raisins. And then maybe a chocolate covered blueberry or something like that.
A blueberry. Okay.
Chocolate covered blueberry, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to keep good in the box?
They're chocolate covered. They're fine.
Oh, I guess that's fine then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like blueberries don't need to be refrigerated.
All right.
I mean, eventually they'll go bad, but so will anything.
Yeah. So this podcast.
Yeah, this podcast has maybe already gone bad. I've used the bi-monthly curated box of snacks joke way too many times. I don't remember exactly when I've used it, but I've used it multiple times to the point where Jason's like, dude, you got to stop bringing up the bi-monthly curated box of snacks.
I'm trying to think of if I've ever heard you make that joke.
You definitely have. You just didn't realize this is what I was referencing because you didn't know what it was yet.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I've brought up on the Ansem Report before. I don't remember when or why, but yeah, and on stream, I'm pretty sure I've used it too. But yeah, so they decide that's what it is, and then Todd and Bojack have a thing where Bojack goes, "Hey, I know you sabotaged me because I sabotaged your rock opera, but so we're even now." And Todd's like, "I actually didn't do that. That would have been really smart. I didn't. That's not what I was doing." And he's like, "Oh, well, do you want to well, this feels bad. You want to just kick me in the stones?
Yeah.
To
Get some
make
revenge
up for
really
it?
quick. Yeah.
And Todd's not into it, and he goes, so we're cool. And he goes, no, we're not cool. You used Margot Martindale to sabotage my rock opera. You know, I'm just trying. I'm gotten past it. I'm just trying to focus on my job. So we're not cool, but it is what it is, kind of thing. And I think that's how they leave it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they just it's awkward, and that's how they leave it. And yeah, it's so then after his conversation with Todd, he gets Bojack gets the Pam Anderson treatment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where all the people are like, hey, Bojack, do you want to eat an apple fritter? Sure, I'd love an apple fritter. I bet you would. And at one point, that guy, I recognize his voice. He's definitely someone who plays a recurring character on the show.
Okay.
He goes, look at his black hole of sadness. Oh, like that. It's like so fucking ridiculous. And Bojack starts freaking out and trying to take everybody's cell phones, telling them their internet's not good because they leaked the chapters.
The internet has gone foul.
Yes. The internet's gone bad. No, stop using it. I'm a celebrity. You have to listen to me.
Let me take your phones.
So he runs up to the roof where Diane is, and they have another confrontation. And she's trying to explain to him that people are sympathetic towards him. It's not, you know, it's not a bad thing. And he goes, well, I guess we're fine then. And she goes, really? And he goes, no, you're fired. And that's how the episode ends, is he fires Diane.
It's so well done because, like, he says you're fired, and the second, like, the end of the word comes out of his mouth, and hard cuts to back in the 90s. Yep. I was
very good ending.
It's very, very good.
Very good ending. To what I would say is a bit of a meandering episode, but you liked it a lot more than I did.
I very much enjoyed this episode.
I'm glad you did. This episode's not bad. It's just not as good as the ones have been recently, and in my opinion, the ones after. So let's get to our little categories here, Sean.
Yeah. Mike, what was your favorite animal-based joke?
It's got to be the hamster in the wheel.
Okay, that one was really good.
It's got to be. That one killed me.
Mine was one that I didn't bring up, but it was right towards the end when Quentin Tarantulino leaves set by shooting a web out of his ass and swinging away.
Oh, yeah, that one's good. That one's good. He just goes away.
Mike, what's your favorite bit overall?
Before we do it, I do have one more that I noticed. Pinky's mug on his desk says, keep calm and carry prawn. Instead of keep calm and carry on.
Good.
I just thought that was funny because obviously penguins eat prawn.
Yeah.
My favorite bit overall is probably, and we didn't talk about it a ton after we referenced it the first time, is just Mr. Peanut Butter's insistence on getting the V-neck. They do a bit where he goes, how are you supposed to put your sunglasses in your shirt? And Bojack does it and the crew neck, and he goes, what? That whole bit is pretty incredible. Also a shout out to when Naomi and Bojack are getting hot and heavy in the bed. He goes to put Mr. Peanut Butter's and Diane's picture away, and then there's another one where there's two hands covering Mr. Bojack. What the fuck? Mr. Peanut Butter's chest.
Yeah.
Which is parodying a famous 1993 Rolling Stone cover image of Janet Jackson in the same pose.
Okay.
And I think that's a funny little bit, and Bojack just kind of tosses it. What's your favorite bit?
It's the Naomi Watts stuff with, like, isn't Hollywood tired of making three-dimensional women?
Yes. Good stuff.
And what was your favorite quote of the episode?
Not a lot of them stand out to me. In that way, like there's not like some big monologue that I really liked. It's probably a part of my favorite bit, which is I don't have the quote word for word, but when Todd's going to talk with Quentin Tarantulino for the first time, Mr. Peanut Butter's like, hey, Todd, make sure you mention the wardrobe, specifically the top half of the wardrobe, specifically the collar of the top half of the wardrobe, specifically the neck part of the collar of the top half of the wardrobe. Like he just continues to go layers and layers. Yeah. So I really liked that one.
I think my favorite was the he filled the air with words one.
Yeah, that one's probably the most devastating one.
Yeah.
I went for a more funny bit, but yeah, you're right. That one is that one's rough.
I've been told this show is gonna devastate me, so I'm gonna lean into it.
Yeah, no, hey. It's also gonna make you laugh though.
And this episode made me laugh a ton, so
good deal. So next episode, Sean, called Downer Ending.
Uh-oh.
Bojack embarks on a project in his typically gonzo style, leading to a drug-fueled revelation.
I have a feeling this one is going to be the one where people really go, what the fuck?
So, like I've told you, the penultimate episode of each season is usually the fucked up one.
Okay.
And that is what we're going into here. This episode, for reference, is ranked 9.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Ooh, all right.
Which is a pretty high score for an episode of television.
Oh, so, yeah.
Especially in IMDb where people are like, stupid. So, yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. It's gonna be a wild ride, and yeah, we'll be back next week with that one. And anything else we got to say, Sean, before we end the episode?
I don't think so.
Okay. Why don't you tell people where they can find your lovely self?
You can find my lovely self on Twitter at Tron_AFK. I put everything up on Twitter that I do. Yeah,
go check out Sean's other stuff. I don't, but you guys should.
Yeah. Why would Mike?
Why would I? They go.
Yeah.
Go on now. I don't read books. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at SpikeGhetti Bros. And on Twitch at Super SpikeGhetti Bros, Twitch.com, Twitch.tv, Twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros.
I don't know about
just follow the last one, not everything I said before that.
Where does Twitch.com take you?
I don't want to know.
I'm gonna find out.
Oh god.
Oh, it takes you to Twitch.tv. It redirects.
Oh, nice. They spent the money on that. Good for them. Yeah, we are just 2 episodes left in this season. Very excited for that. Thank you to everybody who's been listening and watching. We appreciate you. And feel free if you guys, especially going out of the end of the season, if you guys have anything you want to say about this season or any questions you want to ask us, feel free to email me at ansomereportpodcast@gmail.com. That's the best way to email me so we can talk about it on air, read it on air. Please don't spoil anything for Sean. If you spoil anything, I will not read the email.
I did have to quickly close the YouTube page the other day because I was looking at comments. I think it was on YouTube. Somebody commented, and it was
I think they said, Sean, don't read this.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, let me go away.
To be fair, it wasn't a big spoiler.
Okay, but that's what we want,
Yeah,
but
it was.
Put the warning.
It was just the person who was referencing that a bear talks later on.
Okay.
Which wasn't, to me, not a spoiler, but
I just wanted to bring it up to say, good job. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate them trying.
That's the kind of stuff that we want, because I did not get spoiled for anything because I saw Sean don't read this and did not read it.
Good job, everybody. Great job, team. Anyway, Sean, why don't you end the episode?
All right, well, thanks again, and suck a dick, dumb shits.
Hell yeah. I like it better when you do it.